I'm broke! This debt is crushing me! I can't escape!
Most people think spending money is about choice. It's not. It's about emotion. Your brain doesn't see a dollar as a dollar. It sees opportunity, comfort, reward, and identity. And those emotional triggers drive most spending far more than logic ever does. This is what I call the emotional spending cycle. And once you understand it, everything about your money behavior starts to make sense. Let's start at the beginning. It all begins with a feeling: stress, anxiety, restlessness, boredom. Some tension builds inside. Your brain registers discomfort, and immediately it searches for relief. Relief is urgent because your nervous system doesn't care about long-term wealth. It cares about feeling safe now. And here's the critical point: relief doesn't have to be logical. It just has to work emotionally. That's the first stage: emotional tension. You feel off, uneasy, maybe frustrated at life, maybe anxious about money. The brain wants to fix this now. So you act. Impulse, reaction, quick decision. And this is where the cycle really kicks in. Emotional spending. You buy something to feel better. A gadget, clothes, food, an upgrade, something. It doesn't matter if you need it. What matters is the relief it produces in the moment. And here's the key insight: the spending works emotionally, not financially. It creates short-term relief. The tension drops. You feel lighter. You feel calm. You feel in control. But underneath, nothing has changed. The bills are still due. The balances are still the same. The habits are still intact. Your brain doesn't notice. It only remembers: whenever I feel bad, spending works. And the cycle repeats automatically. Tension, impulse, relief. But then reality hits. The balance is lower. The credit card is higher. The goals are untouched. Disappointment sets in. And here comes the silent trap: guilt and shame. You criticize yourself. I shouldn't have done that. I'm bad with money. I'll never get ahead. The brain hates guilt. It hates shame. So it does what brains do. It avoids the situation. You ignore the account, delay planning, skip tracking. This is the avoidance stage. Silence feels safe, but pressure quietly builds again until tension resurfaces and the cycle starts over. Tension, emotional spending, no relief, disappointment, defaultment, avoidance, tension, over and over. And here's why it's so powerful. It feels normal, logical even. You can rationalize every purchase. I deserve this. It was on sale. It's an investment. All while the cycle quietly erodes your financial foundation. And the trick is, intelligence often makes it worse. Smart people rationalize, justify, and intellectualize. The spending feels reasonable. The avoidance feels necessary. The guilt feels deserved. And the brain silently reinforces the pattern. Now let's break it down even further. Why does this cycle exist in the first place? Because your brain is designed for emotional regulation, not financial optimization. It prioritizes short-term comfort over long-term gain. It prioritizes safety, identity, and reward. Numbers? They are secondary. That's why financial advice like just budget, just invest, just stop spending rarely works. You can know everything about money, yet repeat the cycle endlessly. Because the problem isn't knowledge, it's emotional regulation. And here's another hidden twist. The cycle is reinforced by dopamine. Spending triggers dopamine release. You anticipate the reward. You feel excitement. You feel alive. Even before you own the item. Your brain interprets that as progress, as achievement. And once dopamine is involved, habits stick faster than logic. Now consider social triggers: advertising, friends, social media, comparison. Every external cue floods the brain with emotional prompts to spend. Suddenly tension appears where there was none. Your emotional spending system gets hijacked by context, not need. And that's why the cycle is nearly invisible. It looks like normal life to most people. Bills, paychecks, purchases, rinse and repeat. but the psychological damage accumulates silently. Debt grows, savings stagnate, anxiety increases, and the brain, seeking comfort, doubles down on the behavior. Now here's the turning point for breaking the cycle. Step 1. Awareness. Recognize the stages: tension, impulse, relief, disappointment, avoidance. Step 2. Pause before acting. Even a 2-second pause interrupts the automatic response. Step 3. Reframe relief. Find ways to satisfy emotional tension without spending. Exercise, walk, call a friend, journaling. Step 4. Automate positive behaviors. Automatic savings, automatic investments, and predetermined spending limits reduce impulse-driven decisions. Step 5. Visualize progress. When your brain sees tangible proof of security, it reduces the perceived need for instant relief. Step 6. Identity reinforcement. Tell yourself, I am a person who handles money calmly and strategically. Over time, identity overrides impulse. And here's the final secret most people ignore. Breaking the cycle isn't about willpower. It's about emotionally redesigning the system, creating an environment where your brain gets relief without sabotaging your future, where spending is deliberate, not reactive, where saving feels normal, not painful. And once the cycle is broken, the brain stops driving self-sabotage. You feel calm, confident, in control, and the freedom that comes from emotional mastery of money is more valuable than any income increase, because no amount of money can fix the emotional patterns that destroy wealth. This is why people with modest incomes can build wealth steadily, and why some high earners remain trapped. They're not trapped by income, they're trapped by the emotional spending cycle. Here's the next layer most people never see. The emotional spending triggers are deeply personal. It's not just general stress or boredom. It's the specific patterns your brain has learned over years. For example, maybe when you were a child, money meant security, or maybe it meant reward, or maybe it meant conflict. Every experience imprints a subconscious association, and these associations determine exactly what triggers your spending today. If money felt scarce, your brain prioritizes consumption at every opportunity. Grab it now before it disappears. If money was used as a reward, your brain craves small indulgences whenever you feel tension or stress, even if logically you know you should save, invest, or delay gratification. The emotional memory overrides logic. Now combine that with social influence and the cycle accelerates. Advertisements aren't just selling products, they're selling emotional relief. They're telling your brain, buy this. It will make you feel like someone better, happier, or more accomplished. And your brain, wired to chase reward, complies automatically. This is why emotional spending feels invisible, justified, and even necessary in the moment. And here's another hidden piece. Emotional budgeting rarely works. Traditional financial advice budgeting, tracking, list assumes you can act purely logically. But if your brain is triggered emotionally, it ignores logic. It acts first, rationalizes second. That's why people stick perfectly to their budget until a stressful day, a conflict, or a temptation appears. And suddenly, the plan collapses. Impulse wins. Relief wins. Short-term comfort wins. And the brain reinforces that pattern instantly. Another layer is reward timing. Spending produces immediate gratification. Saving produces delayed reward. Your brain undervalues delayed rewards by default. It's called temporal discounting, and it's why even disciplined people struggle with long-term planning. The brain literally interprets delayed rewards as less valuable than immediate ones, which is why it's easier to buy a $50 gadget today than to save $50 for your future self. Now, the critical insight most people miss is this. The emotional spending cycle can be hacked, not by forcing discipline, not by shaming yourself, not by willpower, but by creating emotionally rewarding alternatives to spending. For example, instead of buying something to relieve stress, create a mini ritual that produces instant emotional satisfaction without cost. A walk in nature, a short meditation, Journaling, quick exercise, calling a friend, playing music. These small actions give your brain the relief it craves without sabotaging your finances. Another hack is progress visualization. Track your savings, investments, or debt reduction visually. Even small increases trigger emotional reward signals in the brain. The cycle flips. Tension is relieved by seeing growth, not by spending impulsively. Automation is another key weapon. Set up automatic savings, recurring investments, and spending limits. Your brain gets relief without thinking. Impulse becomes irrelevant because action is pre-decided. And here's the last, most powerful point: identity reinforcement. Your brain wants your behavior to match your self-image. If you start seeing yourself as someone who handles money calmly and strategically, your brain begins to align behavior automatically. Impulse spending drops. Emotional control rises. Consistency becomes effortless. And that's the moment the emotional spending cycle loses its power. From here, wealth isn't built through luck, income, or even discipline. It's built through emotional mastery, behavioral design, and identity alignment. And the beautiful part is this: once you disrupt the cycle, money becomes a tool, not an emotional trigger. You spend consciously, you save strategically, you invest confidently. You stop sabotaging your own financial future. And the freedom this produces? It's invisible to outsiders. No flashy gadgets, no luxury displays, just calm, control, confidence, and compounding results that grow silently while your peers are caught in the cycle. In the next video, we'll go even deeper. We'll explore how identity secretly drives financial self-sabotage, and why even people who know better can repeat the emotional spending cycle unconsciously. Because understanding the brain behind your money is the ultimate leverage for financial freedom. Once you see it, you'll notice the triggers everywhere: stores, social media, ads, your friends' purchases, even your own stress patterns. And more importantly, you'll know exactly how to interrupt them.